Good morning. How are we all doing? Camera's up there. I've forgotten. I completely forgotten what to do. How is everybody? Hopefully the mic's working. It wasn't working this morning. Software update at some point in the last 4 or 6 weeks, however long it's been. So yeah, hello. How is everyone? How many people are here? 26. That's not too bad. Morning, Danny. Morning, Mumble. Morning, Joshua, Jacob, Soul Trader, Monkey, Andres, Vitali, Don. Some familiar names, which is always good to know. Right. So this morning we're going to do the usual stuff. Bear with me one sec. I just need to place some orders on another terminal. Range this morning. Okay. Just trading on another terminal over on my other monitor. Okay. Right. There we go. Sorry, where am I? Where's my chat gone now? I haven't got my pen ready or anything. Absolute chaos. Morning, everybody else I haven't said morning to. So back basically streaming. There's going to be some changes basically moving forward. I'm not quite ready yet with what I want to do. So it's getting there. But basically what I'm going to be doing moving forward is changing the way that I stream, basically, so that I am more focused on just executing the strategies that I trade in the normal live rooms on YouTube. And then I'm going to have a members area, which I'm going to focus on education, basically. So I've got this new dashboard that I've been working on and building, which has got absolutely tons of features in it. This is the members. If there's any members in here, there are a few. Will know that I was working on a project with another couple of guys that I've traded with to build a portal, basically. And I was working on the statistical analysis part of it, really, and some of the coding. And basically, they decided to jack it in. So I said to them, well, we've got this far with it. If you're happy, I'll take it over and I will use it for my members. So this is basically what I've done. Morning for Guinea. So basically what this is it's kind of a trading portal. So it's everything that I want as a trader in one space. Yeah. So everything that I would ever need to do with analysis, backtesting analysis, account analysis, fundamental analysis, retail analysis, everything basically you need, which is important, all stuffed in one place with AI analysis added onto it. So I'm going to do a rundown of this at some point when it's finished, but all the education will be in here as well. So, and also there's a new kind of product, if you like, basically, but a membership level, basically, where you can have access to all the EAs, basically, and the education, everything all in one. So I'll get that finished, and then we will go through it, basically, when it's ready. It's not quite ready yet because I haven't got the education part done. So for the moment, what I'm going to be doing is streaming normally. So we're going to stick with the normal plan of live streams at the moment, which is the Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So Monday morning, Wednesday afternoon for the New York session, Wednesday morning, which will still be members only. And then Wednesday afternoon for the New York session, and then Friday morning and Friday afternoon. So still trading the DAX and the New York Open. I've decided to move over to MT5, shock horror. At some point, I had to drag myself kicking and screaming. I did put a post in Discord about this. Over the last 2 years, I've been developing EAs and streaming for 5 years now. Over the last year, the switch or the sort of balance, if you like, from MetaTrader 4 to MetaTrader 5 has become almost 50-50. When I was looking at my statistics on what I've sold of my own EAs over the last few years, it was very, very heavily weighted to MT4 2 years ago. Last year, it was still massively weighted to MT4, but it was dropping slightly. This year's the first year it's become sort of 50-50. which indicates that more traders are switching to MT5 now. Whether that's because of choice or whether because they're being forced, because a lot of brokers now have dropped MT4 and a lot of prop firms have dropped MT4 as well. I think that's probably more to do with it, the prop firm side of things dropping MT4. But it is prevalent now. MT5 is kind of 50-50. So I thought I will bite the bullet and try MT5 only. It may work, it may not. MT5 is notoriously buggy because they have an auto update system. So I will see how it goes, basically. But that's the plan anyway. So I'm going to switch to MT5, do all my trading on MT5. If I find it really buggy and annoying, things don't work, at the end of the day, I will switch back to MT4. Then the most important thing with the trading terminal is it works, yeah? For analysis, the charts that you see on the screen here are the same everywhere. Yeah, a candlestick is a candlestick. I don't care whether you use MT4, MT5, Tradeovate, TradingView, whatever you want to use, multi-charts. That candlestick looks the same on all of them. It's a candlestick. It's a representation of price over time. So it doesn't matter which software you use to make your analysis. You press a button on a trading terminal to buy or sell. So it doesn't matter whether you use MT4 or MT5 to do your analysis. Automated trading, very much the same. As long as it works, that's absolutely fine. So I thought we'll stick on MT5 for a bit, see how we go. But caveat is, if I find it annoying, I'll switch back. So the idea is I'm going to start developing only on MetaTrader 5 moving forward. So because it's just easier for me to do one platform, I don't have to do everything twice, basically. All the MT4 stuff still works, not a problem. That will continue to work because they never update, it never breaks. So anyway. Right, so this is your ORB this morning. There's your 5-minute range. We're inside bar on the 10, so we're going to be taking a break of the 5-minute ORB at some point today. We'll quickly cover the news. I'll cover it on my new calendar on my website. Yeah, this is what basically my calendar. So my calendar is built for me. So the way this calendar works basically is very much the same as Forex Factory or any other calendar you look at. It's just a feed of what's coming up this week. You can adjust it so that it's got the right time zone for you, basically. We've got filters for filtering stuff out, usual stuff. But the difference between my one and most of the others is I personally want to be able to look at a news item and go, right, what's been happening recently with the news item? So what I've done is I've built my calendar so that you can click this little button there and it will open up and it will show you the last data points so you can quickly see what's going on with PMI over the last however long you want to do. And my one will also show you all the previous releases at a glance. So it's just a nice way of just getting everything you need to know about this particular news event in one screen and show you whether or not the last X number of releases have been bullish or bearish, basically. So it's just a quick, I want to see what's going on with PMIs at the moment. Well, at the moment, we've got a mixed result. We've had a bullish one, a bearish one, and it didn't really, that's this one, isn't it? Actually, might as well get rid of that. Don't need the actual release there, do we? I'll change that. So yes, it just gives you a quick overview, basically, of what's coming up. So today is bank holiday in the US. So this afternoon's session, what I'm going to probably do this afternoon is focus on Forex. Actually, there's no point in doing this afternoon, is there? The markets are shut. No one's going to be there anyway, are they? I'm going to scrap this afternoon and do some work on this. That's a better idea. So there's no point in actually going through anything this afternoon. I didn't realize it was a bank holiday. I've literally just looked at the calendar this morning. So there's no point in going through anything this afternoon. I'll cancel this afternoon's live stream session and I'll make sure I get this finished basically this afternoon. Today, bank holiday in Canada and in the USA. So there's no US session this afternoon. So if you're using the ORB, EA, SIH, EA, any type of strategy on the indices, just be aware, obviously. I don't know if they are actually shut because quite often when you have a bank holiday, the markets actually don't shut now because we've got the Globex session, but it might be early closing. I'll have to have a look. But anyway, so just be aware of that. So there's no other news today. Tomorrow we've got CPI for the euro, and we've got PMIs for the US. So these are the medium and high impact only on here. Obviously, that's the main one that we're looking at. Wednesday, we're going to the Australian GDP. We've got Lagarde speaking, Bullock speaking, monetary policy report hearings for the pound. Nothing particularly exciting, is there? Jolts on Wednesday as well. Swiss on Thursday. So that's your first sort of major news event of the week. Is the CPI coming up for the Swiss franc. If you look at inflation, it's all over the place at the moment, but dropping. Basically the last time, this actually gives you the actual forecast and previous for the last one. So the actual came out as a 0. The forecast was to go negative. So basically we know CPI is dropping, which is indicative of going with lower interest rates, which will weaken the Swiss franc. So that's your sort of main sort of first big inflationary news event that we've got this week. We've got non-farm employment change, and then obviously Friday, we've got services PMIs as well on Thursday, but then Friday we go into non-farm payroll. So the unemployment rate for the US comes out on Friday. The last couple of releases not been particularly impactful. The last one. The previous one obviously was, and then none before. So again, it's a mixed news event, unemployment rate. The Fed is keeping a very, very close eye on this at the moment. This is actually its main driver for interest rates. But we know that we're going to have a drop on interest rates this month at the moment, unless Trump steps in and decides to do something else. But anyway, so Friday is really where we're all weighted this week. It's all heavy impact news towards the end of the week this week. So that's what we've got coming up. Over the weekend, there's not much point in covering over the weekend because I haven't been here for 3 weeks. So over the last 3 weeks or so, a lot of stuff's happened. But at the end of the day, the main thing is we're looking at interest rates coming down in the US. So potentially weakening US dollar moving forward. I haven't actually got my terminal set up at the moment for MT5 for position trading. So I'm going to get that done today as well. But if we look at the MT4 version, obviously the dollar at the moment, there's the news that came in last week, which obviously dropped the dollar. But the dollar should, in theory, start to gradually go into decline now. We're having an interest rate drop, which is negative dollar. But obviously we've got Trump in charge, so that could change. But we'll see what happens. But I'd be bearish on the dollar moving forward at the moment. Certainly not bullish. But obviously we are coming in, we're in summer trading at the moment, which has been absolutely volatile in the indices, but FX has been pretty flat. So I think at the moment it's a case of just waiting for the summer trading to finish off, and then we should start to see that decline in the dollar. I think before the interest rate decision comes out, they will start to drop into that dollar. So probably a week or two before the interest rate decision, we should see some movement. So I'm just looking at the indices. They're not going anywhere today. I think this is probably due to obviously it being a holiday in the US. The European markets are flat today. So no breaks at all. Nothing to report home about, is there? Right, so we will whiz through all the FX pairs this morning. We'll have a look at where everything is. Couple of other bits on here. On this members area, I might even get this done today, actually. What we're going to have is the dashboards in here as well. So your ADR dash and your RSI dash. I'm also going to chuck in all the other oscillators as dashboards as well. They'll all be accessible in here as well for the members area. So it means you'll have one central source dashboard basically for alerts for everything. So I'm just building that out at the moment. And then obviously all the education side of things got to be built into it. But other than that, everything else is pretty much in there at the minute. Just a quickie for moving forward for position trading. What I'm going to be doing for position trading is too aggressive. I'm going to be changing the way that I do my position trading. 8 symbols, is that all that gives me? can't be right. Okay. So moving forward, I'm going to be changing. I don't want. Oh, hang on a minute. One sec. I'm not prepared at all this morning. This morning's been one of those mornings which has just been like rush. Because my mic wasn't working. I had to spend half an hour fixing my mic. So everything else I wanted to do this morning, I didn't actually get a chance to do. Swissies out as well. Okay, so if I have a 50 threshold, how many does that give me? 5. That's not a lot, is it? So basically, this is a correlation analysis. So with position trading, what I'm doing moving forward is I'm going to up my risk and drop the number of instruments that I position trade and make sure that they are uncorrelated. So I was expecting to be able to build a bigger basket than that, to be honest, but I can't. Terrible. Okay. So at the moment, for position trading, and again, I'll go through this in a bit more detail at some point, what I'm looking to do is have diversified portfolio. I'll tell you what I might actually do. Let me just have a look at the indices as well. Okay, yeah. Right. So what I might actually do is introduce gold, oil, and an index, but long-only indices. So trading Aussie, New Zealand, Pound Odd, Aussie CAD, Euro Pound, and US Dollar CAD, because they are non-correlated at the moment, above 50%. And then introduce metals. So I want some commodities and stock indices, but long only on the stock indices. I'm going to go through this in the members session because I'm changing the way that position trading is done for me personally at the moment, because this last year has been very tough position trading. It's been a lot less profitable. One of the reasons is we've got a lot more sideways movement, as you can see. So selling and buying highs and lows at the moment is much more effective from a position trading perspective than using an indicator like the RSI. However, this is only because the market's gone into shock over these trade tariffs, and the trade tariffs pretty much are done in the hole. But where we're going to go next with Trump is very difficult to tell. So the last Trump administration that we had, it was very hard for position trading because he was making it so volatile, basically. So we got into a lot of squeezes and a lot of horrible trades. With this one, we've had a very similar sort of experience, but the market's been dead the rest of the time. What happened last time was we had these big swings where we got these huge squeezes, and then the market would just go into that sort of movement afterwards, which was kind of more normal market structure. But what we've had this time is these horrible big squeezes and then the market just dying, which for position trading doesn't really help, does it? So diversifying your portfolio down into less instruments with slightly higher risk that are not correlated together is probably a better way to go, which is one of the reasons I built this correlation matrix system. But at the moment, everything seems to be very, very, very heavily correlated, which doesn't help. So we'll go through that again in another time. So again, it's all part of the stuff that I wanted to try and get together for today, but I haven't had a chance to do so. Right, so there's your news. So that's what's coming up this week. Obviously, back end of the week is where we're going to start to get the movement. So the Swiss franc on Thursday, and then US for non-farm payroll on Friday. We've got very little else that's going to move the market. PMIs tomorrow, basically. But other than that, this week is going to be fairly quiet. There's no movement on the indices today, so there's no ORB so far. We are 15-minute inside bar. So market looks like it wants to break long at the moment, but it's not really getting anywhere. So we'll wait and see what happens. If we don't get a break, we don't get a break. That's fine. If I get to 30 minutes in, Obviously, that is the range break that we will take in one direction or the other. A bit of a risky one today because obviously there's not a lot of movement. So it could just be that we get whipsawed out twice and have a double loss, but we'll see. We'll see where we go. Right, let me just catch up on chat before I look at the FX side of things. I'm going to do that on MT4 today. Just because I haven't got my MT5 platform set up properly. Morning, Franco. Vitaly, propulsion gap indicator is very buggy in MT5. Yes, it is. I will look at it. It's on my list to do. So yeah, I'll have a look at that. What about Tick Data Suite for backtesting? Still use it, but it's MT4. If you want to do your backtesting in MT4, that's fine. I still do my backtesting in MT4. I'm going to try and do a lot more backtesting in MT5. However, you're reliant on broker data. You can squirt your own data into there as well, but it's not really something I've really concentrated on. For me as a programmer, it's easy for me to build something for MT4 to do quick testing. And actually, if you become a member of the system, of the new platform, you get a builder in there for MetaTrader, so you can build your own EAs. But I will cover that at a later stage. Triggered long on the DAX. Oh dear. Immediately rejected that 5-minute high. Yeah, I don't know yet. We'll do a session on MT5 backtesting. Was afraid the man with no face kidnapped you? No, still here. On the position trader EA, how do you set the EA on VPS that is only manages trades? I use mean reversion strategy. It's all explained on the website. If you go to our website, which is really slow at the moment. Why does it sound servers on my list? So if you go into the position trader EA page, my God, come on. There's a video on it somewhere. There you go. There. So my VPS setup, position trader EA. That video explains what you need to know. There's a link. Morning. So in this live alone, we have Lee moving on to MT5 and to position trade oil and gold. The world is really coming to an end, it seems. I know. I will be trading oil and gold with low risk. So I've been trading, I've been doing a load of analysis on specifically on gold. So basically gold I've always been stuffed with position trading. I am now trading gold with the ORB EA because gold, if you look at gold, it gets an absolute kick at the open. So if you look at five-minute open on gold, where are we? So 1430, right? So there's the ORB there. So that is New York Open. Yeah, that is Globex. Yeah, so gold, because it's a future instrument, it's a futures traded instrument, same as oil is with CL. It opens at the open. So as with stock indices, on gold, you get a real fast movement at the open. So I've been doing some analysis on it and I've included it into my ORB portfolio. So I've removed FTSE because FTSE historically hasn't been great. And I've introduced gold, partly because gold, if you look at correlation, gold and oil are not correlated with the US indices. So if I get rid of everything, put the indices and metals in there, you can see you got gold here. Look, the correlation between the US indices and the European indices and gold is not there, basically. The Japanese index and gold are negatively correlated by 47%, but everything else, there's no correlation at all. So by introducing gold into the ORB strategy and trading those, there's no correlation, very little correlation. You can see the correlation between the S&P 500 and the Dow and the NASDAQ is incredibly high. So 72% of the movement on the S&P is the same as the Dow, and 90% of the movement on the S&P is the same as the NASDAQ. So if you trade the NASDAQ and the S&P long, you're basically trading the same thing. They move the same pretty much 90% of the time. They move the same 75% of the time, roughly. Yeah, but gold doesn't. It's actually inversely correlated. So when the indices go up, it goes the other way, but only 25% of the time. So 75% of the time, if you take a trade on that and that, you're going to get completely different results, which is what we want, diversification across the portfolio. So I've introduced that. In position trading, I'm going to run a reduced risk on it. So there'll be less money put on it. But need diversification at the moment. So have to do what we have to do. But I'm going to trade a slightly different strategy with it. So, and again, I'll be covering that at some point. You mentioned indices only, but don't you think it's also for gold? Also for gold better? Gold looks also as there is only one direction. Don't understand. I think I've just answered that question if we were talking about indices. You've said gold so much, I have to wash my cell in holy water now. Yeah, I know. I've been building an EA with someone, and it's a gold trading EA, and it works on the 1 minute time frame. And I've been trading it for over 6 weeks now, and it's phenomenal performance. But it's on the 1 minute chart using breakouts at the open. So it's kind of opened my eyes to basically how gold moves. I've always position traded gold. I've never scalped it. And it's always been okay until it's not, and then it goes parabolic. But it usually goes parabolic because of the dollar. Or there's some kind of safe haven run which sends the commodities into like crazy mode. So I think it's a great instrument for low time frame trading, not for position trading. But for position trading, it trends. If you look at it on an hourly chart, yeah, it's the same as all the other FX pairs crossed with the dollar. But every now and again, it goes parabolic. But if you look at all the US dollar crosses, yeah, they say that euro, not so much. Actually, pound, not so much at the moment. It goes parabolic with the dollar in the opposite direction, but it also goes parabolic on its own. And this is why gold's always been one of my sort of bad symbols, is because when you're position trading, if you get a squeeze on because the dollar is dropping, gold going up, and then you get a safe haven run at the same time, what that does is it squeezes gold further. So gold has the potential, and oil as well, has the potential to go into kind of a double squeeze, if you like, which is why I've avoided it. But if you run that with half as much risk, you've got that diversification of having commodities within your portfolio. But if you get a double squeeze, it's kind of the same as having a single squeeze. That's the kind of theory. So, but again, I'll go through all of this at a later stage. I haven't even got it set up yet. At the moment, I'm still position trading my MT4 account. So I need to get this flat. Until I've got this flat, I can't get out. I can't get flat. I can't get my money out, basically, because my money is all tied up in the MT4 account. So I've got to get that flat before I can get it transferred over into the MT5 one, which is annoying. I can't just shut it because I'm 10% in drawdown. Anyway, right. So let's have a look at the ADR dash and everything. So ADR dash today, we've got a couple of ADRs already this morning. Just quickly check what the ORB is doing. So we've broken long. This is a small account that I've started here. It's got 10K in it. So again, another thing I'm going to be doing with the streams moving forward is using what people call realistic money. Yeah. My account sizes are not normal account sizes. So what I'm doing is I'm using some accounts within the live rooms, which are going to be copied over to other accounts, to my accounts, but they'll be what I would class as more realistic balances. Yeah. So one of the things in the questionnaire that I ran, which loads of people answered, was what their available capital is. And I've realized there's no point in me sitting here trading 50K accounts if no one else has got 50K accounts. Might as well trade what people are trading. People are trading 5 grand accounts and 10 grand accounts. There's a few people trading bigger, but the vast majority of people are on 5 and 10K. So I thought I'll put account sizes in here that reflect what the majority have got. And then obviously it's more realistic, isn't it? So making $27 on this break so far is realistic. My account on ORB, which is running on my VPS, will be sitting in something like $400 or $500 of profit, but it's pounds rather. It's a different account size, isn't it? So it's all the same. It's all percentage risk. The risk is exactly the same. Doesn't matter what your account size is. All it is these numbers are bigger. That's all it is. So, right, ADRs. So we got a couple of ADRs. We got EuroCAD. That's gone over already. So I have shorts on this one already, but we've already hit ADR. So it looks to me like it's actually a real mixed bag. So yeah, EuroCAD's come straight off ADR. Look up there, tight reversal at ADR. The pound odd also ADR. That's more because of that gap down. So I'd ignore that one. It's not a real ADR. Again, one of the things I'm doing with this new dashboard that I'm going to be putting on the members area is I'm going to have a time entry to calculate ADR by. So this is part of research that I'm doing myself. What I'm looking at is ADR from the open. So I'm looking at ADRs from 8 a.m. on instruments, and I'm looking at ADRs from 14:30, which is the New York Open. So I'm looking to see how much things move, what their average daily ranges on sessions are, rather than entire day, because this is one of the things that always causes a problem, especially with Australian and New Zealand instruments, is you get this massive gap down because the New Zealand market is the first one to open on a Monday, and you get this huge gap situation, which isn't real. You see the market virtually always pulls straight back up there because all it is spread. So the ADR calculation, that's an ADR hit to the upside, and it has actually hit ADR to the upside and bounced off nicely, but it's pure coincidence because this is broker driven, not market driven. So the new dashboards that I'm building into the website are going to allow you to set a time. So you could say, ignore the first 2 hours of the day and tell me what the ADR is from 2 a.m. to the end of the day. And that will filter out a load of these gaps, basically, that happen. I have tried doing calculations from end of previous day. That doesn't work either. Because every broker will give you a different gap there. This is my Robo Forex account. If you look at a different broker, you'll have a different gap there. I don't think I've got it on my Global Prime. No, I can't do it on there really. But yeah, so you're going to get a different gap. So that one's not a gap this morning. Pound CAD. That's an ADR hit to the upside. No, you haven't. No reversal on that yet. Nice M pattern gone in, but it's parabolic. So there's no reversal. That's a reversal to the downside. And as you can see, that's where the sellers started to kick in. They got overpowered. They've pulled back and buyers are pulling back in again. So wait till that reversal's gone in. But got an M pattern up there, which obviously didn't give you a reversal. But if that gives you a reversal, look for a pullback to short. Little gap on that one there, but that's an ADR hit as well today. Pound Swiss is also an ADR hit, but that again, gap. Swiss franc, huge gap on that, and that's not real. And New Zealand Swiss, that will have the same. That's even worse. Look, we got the New Zealand gap and the Swiss gap. So yeah, although there is an ADR reversal there, that's just pure coincidence. So ignore that. So there's no ADRs basically. It's the first of the month, so no monthly ranges, obviously. RSI extensions, there's only two to look at. There's the New Zealand dollar yen, which is a 4-hour extension. Doing something with somebody explaining how that worked. Oh. So yeah, New Zealand dollar yen, there's a 4-hour extension. That's kind of to do with that gap. So nice short area though. Support. Might be a nice short. Hourly, you've got Euro CAD. Extended to the upside. So nice extension there for shorts. I'm already short on that one. I've been trying to get out of that. I had opportunities to exit this at break even 3 times last week. And I said, no, I'm not going to exit at break even. I'm going to wait and see if we can come down and pull this propulsion gap and go like that. And obviously this morning it's decided to fly parabolic to the upside. So there goes my chances of getting flat on this account, so I can transfer it into my MT5 one. Anyway, so yeah, nice push up. So we have had a breakdown, that double bottom, this area here. So we had this accumulation, we pushed up. This is kind of a wick off spring here. We pulled back down again, accumulated and broke. So this looks like potentially we might pull up into 125 ADR, retest this area here, and then potentially come back down again. So the trouble with this is obviously we're expecting the dollar to weaken, possibly the CAD to go with it as well, which means it might bolster the euro a little bit. We have got Lagarde speaking this week on Wednesday. So we may well have some movement on Wednesday that sort of gives the euro either a push or a pull. Just pulling back on the DAX. Wrong. I've got too many platforms open. Just pulling back inside range on the DAX. No momentum today. Upside target on the DAX. I mean, you got that high there. I haven't got period separators turned on, have I? I haven't got my high-low indicator. No indicators on this either. So yeah, that's yesterday's high, Friday's high, which is kind of that end of day sort of accumulation on Thursday as well. So that should be really where you might look for an upside partial exit today. It's only 1R, but it's probably 1 and a bit R. But you're better off taking some there. There's no strength in the market today, so the likelihood is we'll get some kind of pullback or bounce off of that. If we get there, it's not going anywhere, is it? It's one of them days today. Sorry to be nosy. Where did you go vacation? I didn't. I've been here. I didn't go away. I just took time off, basically. Mainly working. I've been out doing loads of other stuff, but mainly working on what I'm going to be doing moving forward with the streams and everything. So you are now going to be trading ORB with gold at the New York Open. Yes. Exactly the same, yeah. Go and do some back testing with the ORB on gold. It's a little bit like the FTSE in that you get some really good breaks, but you also get some accumulative type of movement. So that's the goal. That's the open there on Friday. Oh, wrong button. Yeah, so there's your 5-minute open. So that's your 5-minute ORB on Friday. So there is your ORB on Thursday. So that's your 5 minute, your 10 minute, your 15 minute. Yeah, so it broke up, retested, went. Moves the same as indices, very much the same. Not the same in the way it moves, but the fact that it goes at the open. Yeah. So, you know, you can clearly see Globex, and then market open. Yeah. So this is what we're looking for. Don't forget, all the ORB, the edge of the ORB strategy is we can time market movement. It's the only thing you can time. So all other strategies out there, you can't time when they're going to happen. Yeah. So if you get an RSI extension to the upside, you've moved up. You can't time when it's going to come down. With the ORB, it's at 4:30 every day. That's when the volatility comes in every day. Volume spikes at the open. This is a future. Yeah. So your futures are your stock indices and your commodities. Gold, oil, DAX, Dow, NASDAQ, S&P, Russell, whatever you want. They are any futures market that opens at the open is going to have an opening range breakout because there is little volume before the open and there is lots of volume after it. Gold is the same. Silver, platinum, all futures. So you can trade any futures instrument at the open. Some are better than others. This is also going to have whippy opens, but it will have a break that works most of the time. And this is where the edge is. The edge is not that we go, I think it's long, I think it's short. The edge is we know when the market's moving. So we get on when the market moves. We wait for it to establish a range and then we wait for it to pick a direction. If it doesn't pick a direction, we lose. That's it. It's a breakout strategy. You can't win a breakout strategy that mean reverts. When it breaks out into a trend day, that's when it works. And that's what gold does. And it does it virtually all the time at the New York Open. If you look at the European Open, which is there, yeah, it rotates because it's a US driven instrument on the US futures market. So there's your open there. Again, bit of a whippy one. So you had a 5, 10, 15 break to the upside, then the downside. So that would have been your 30-minute ORB long. So that day, you would have been whipsawed, probably 2, maybe 4 losses in there. But then you got that break. So it still would have been a losing day that day, potentially. Depends how many breaks you took. But it did go. Yeah. But it goes at New York. That's the other thing you got to be careful of as well. News, Trump. Anything that comes out of Trump's mouth basically is going to affect gold price because it is somewhere that people run to. You run to safe havens. Gold is a safe haven as well. But it works. Test it. USA bank holiday today. I'm not going to wait. I'm going to wait the New York session. USA bank holiday today. I'm going to wait for the New York session. What for? I'm not here this afternoon. I'm cancelling it because it's shut. First time here from Brazil. Welcome, Citizen BR. Labor Day or in Kansas City, barbecue, beer, football. Excellent. Sounds good to me. Do you have my SIH back on? Not yet. I will be. Yeah. Right, so let's have a quick look through. Look at the swaps as well on gold. Is that right? Swap short is 0. The swap. That might scupper my plans. Okay, so for position trading, that is out of the window because I cannot go long on oil. Only be able to short it. But that's not the end of the world. 6. Yeah. Okay. So I might have a rethink on gold for position trading. That's not going to work, is it? I can't take $38 long swaps. Right. So I'm going to go whiz through the pairs today, this morning, just see where everything is, look for opportunities, and just kind of get a refresher on where everything's going. So long-term fundamental bias, we are basically looking for where everything's going. So US dollar strength now back to neutral because we're going to be dropping interest rates in September, probably another one coming as well. So this page is kind of an AI driven analysis of fundamentals. So basically what it does is it analyzes the economic calendar and it analyzes this page, deep dive. No, it doesn't. It analyzes the overview, which basically shows you all the most recent events for every single currency, whether they're bullish, they're bearish, and what it is compared to the previous is. It does a load of stuff and basically comes out and spits out an analysis basically based on all the market data for fundamentals. So it gives you basically whether the dollar is bullish, bearish, or neutral, and how confident that analysis is based on how many data points there are, what those data points are, and how they compare to the other currencies. Quite complex, but basically you don't need to know the mechanics of it. It just spits out something that goes, yeah, like that, basically. So the dollar at the moment is neutral, confidence level 60%, which basically is not particularly confident. We are likely to go bear on this very shortly. Euro, again, very middle ground. Everything pretty much is the same. If you look at it, everything is kind of neutral, slightly more bullish on the pound. Swiss, neutral. Aussie, strong. We know about that because the interest rate change. Canadian, neutral, and moderate on the New Zealand dollar. So there's nothing that is strong at the moment, basically, from a fundamental perspective. So with everything, we know the Aussie dollar is the only thing that's strong at the moment, but everything else is kind of just flip-flopping around. We're in summer trading. We've had loads of interest rate drops. Now the banks are starting to look at interest rates and think maybe we should be slowing down a little bit. US, obviously, in their cleverness, have decided to leave all of their interest rate drops until the end of the year after everyone else has done them. So, because they've had other things on their mind, like trade wars. So basically, the US dollar is probably going to be bearish moving into the end of the year, and everything else probably neutral because they won't be doing much changes on interest rates because they've already done them to the most part. So support resistance bounce plays on most things are probably still going to be the best thing to look at. So we're going to look through the markets and just have a look at where everything is, have a look at where we've been over the last sort of few weeks. Probably best looking at the hourly, and then see what opportunities might arise for just taking individual sort of bounce play trades, basically. So Aussie, New Zealand, I am short on this. I've been short on this for a while. I'm in a bit of a squeeze on it at the moment because the interest rate decision changed. I got stuck in this accumulation, basically, and that's when the interest rate change happened. So I'm expecting them to come back down and retest that high. And retest this propulsion before potentially pushing back off again. But this is taking such a long time to happen. There is a danger now that we might get some more bullish Australian dollar news coming in this week. So Aussie this week, we've got the GDP coming in. The forecast is for a positive GDP, which means bullish move Aussie. So there is danger on the horizon this week for the Australian dollar. There's no real news for New Zealand dollar this week at all. So there's nothing that's going to affect it in that respect. So I'm hoping that the GDP number is a miss this week, and that will be the catalyst that will drive this back down into here. I don't think it will go bearish. I don't think we're going to come back down into this accumulation. We'll probably bounce back out of it. But for me, if we can get somewhere down into here, because this is an account I'm looking to shut down, I will probably take a small loss on this. So I'm hoping that I get a couple over the line this week that are going to make me a nice profit so that I can offset this Aussie New Zealand against them and just take a loss on it. So I'd like to see them come back down and test this area. And then obviously that's my average at the moment. So I'll just take that much as a loss on it. But nothing particularly exciting happening on that one. Aussie US, this one basically I've also got shorts on. Again, slightly exposed on the Australian dollar at the moment. Next short is going to be here before we come up to the monthly highs. So if we do push up this week, i.e. more weakness on the dollar, which is probably expected, then I'll be looking for a push back down into that propulsion gap for an exit. So watch that area there for potential bounce point. That's within ADR today. So there's plenty of opportunity for it to reach that today. Obviously, we've got no US session where we're going to get movement too much in the dollar. So the Asian session is over. So the likelihood is we probably won't do much today. But watch for that bounce this week up there. And then we're looking for a retest of the propulsion gap, or at least a retest of that propulsion gap, which broke that high there. So this is where I'll be looking to target for my exit. Euro CAD, got shorts on this one at the moment. Again, this one I had break-even exits on it. The reason I didn't take this, I was watching this last week. We broke down below that level, and then we bounced, and then we pushed our head back up against it. I thought, here we go, we're going to push back up into propulsion, and it didn't. It pushed back down again. So I thought, right, looks like we're going to break. So what I actually saw was a triple bottom, and then it bounced, and then a quadruple bottom bounce. Yeah. So this area here, they just do not want to sell through, unfortunately, which is this accumulation. So if we get back down to a break even, and I'm not sure that we're going to be honest, but if we do, now this move started, I will probably take it off there and just get out. Four bounces there. That's a really strong support. However, saying that, if it hits it again, everyone that bought there is probably going to bail out. So it could well break, but we'll see. So what I'd like to see is push up into propulsion and then resell that area down. But just stopped out of the how many terminals? Oh no, I haven't stopped out. I've stopped out over here on this terminal. This yeah, I've stopped out on this terminal. Haven't stopped out here though. There's my stop loss. Didn't quite touch it. So managed to survive that. So we'll see. That's a hell of a gap down as well, isn't it? Look at that. No liquidity today. There's loads of gaps in the market. Look. So it's kind of a bit weak today. Aussie CAD, yeah, so looking for that to drop back down again. Just covered my chat window up. Oops. One. I've scalping gold for months, 30-minute ORB manually, doing well. Powerful gains, but horrifying moments, yeah. Yeah. Gold is great. It's one of those, it's like, this is what I say, it's very much like the FTSE. The FTSE, I've had really, really good results with. However, the results are way worse than all the other indices. Gold is very similar in the way that it trades with FTSE. It either is stubborn and it does nothing and you get chopped up, or it goes. And when it goes, it really, really, really goes. So I'm going to do a system parameter permutation test on gold ORB. That might be something I'm going to do on Wednesday in the member stream, actually. Just so I can do a little bit more, because I've done a load of analysis on it, but I want to do some more detailed analysis on permutation tests. I think there's an argument with gold for having less winning days, but holding for those big, big, big winning days. There's almost an argument with gold as well for not closing end of day and letting that run, which you can't do with prop, obviously. But if you've got your own money in your own account, then or you've got a swing account with a prop firm, let it run. Because when it actually goes, those big parabolic days that you get at the open, they tend to be the ones that just have small pullbacks and runs. So I need to do a little bit more analysis on it. It might be that it needs a kind of ORB stroke breakout trend strategy rather than just ORB close at end of day. But it needs time to analyze that. But yeah, I'm having great results for gold. Really good at the open. But it's something I've not. The only reason I've had my eyes open to it is because I've been working with somebody developing an EA for trading gold, and I've got much more into prop over the last few months, and I've seen the ORBs on gold because I'm trading futures. So it's I've seen loads of movement on gold, which I haven't seen before because I've never looked at it on the 5-minute time frame. Just not done it. So there's a lot of instruments, there's a lot of time frames. Just never paid any attention. So it's good. Anyway, we'll cover that. Am I still trading with Top Step? I am, yes. And I'm also trading with another company. It's this one that trades on this platform. I can't remember the name of them. It's this. Oh my God. It's yeah, another. They're a CFD prop firm. Forgotten their name. Anyway. I'm not going to remember it either. Too many prop firms have adopted this consistency rule. What consistency? I mean, a lot of them have. Yeah, I mean, it's just another rule to get you basically in it. The consistency rule is a good rule, I think, because it stops you gambling. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's a good rule for the prop firms, to be honest, because it stops you gambling, and that's where they make most of their money, isn't it? So with Top Step, for example, now I've got to trade 3 days, really, yeah, because I've got to have a 50% consistency rule. So what they're basically doing is say, if you're going to fluke it, you've got to fluke it for 3 days, which is fair enough. But I don't know. I don't mind the consistency rule because once you're funded, it doesn't matter. You got to trade normally. This account here, I mean, I've been trading this account here. What am I up? 50. I was up 51 1 this morning or something. This doesn't work, this platform. Look, closed positions this week, today. Yeah, doesn't change. Look, 237. This month, 237. This week, 237. This year. Oh, here you go. All right. Oh, okay. It's a new month. Oh, I see. Right. So today, when I change this to today, it still shows me all the previous orders. Look. Not very good. Anyway. Forgotten what I was talking about. Yeah, so prop firms, yes. I don't mind the consistency rule. I've been trading that account for 7 days now, funded. So, I'm quite happy with the consistency rule because I'm not being very consistent, which is why I'm only up £1,000. Sound like you need to go into consolidation. Must have order. Sound you need to go into consolidation. I don't understand that, Franco. You've completely lost me on that one. Right, EuroCAD covered, Euro Swiss. Got longs on Euro Swiss at the moment. So this one, I'm looking for a push back up into propulsion. I think this bounce here is probably the start of a new leg up, but the Swiss franc should really be bearish, which would argue for that. But obviously being a safe haven of what's going on with Trump at the moment, it could go either way at any time. So I'm trying to be a little conservative. I got 2 longs on it at the moment. It's sitting in profit. I'd like to get out if we can push up into, if we get an ADR hit, basically. If I see an ADR alert and I've got a decent amount of money, I'll probably take it off. Being a bit cautious with the Swissy at the moment. It's the only Swiss I'm trading. Yeah, flatlined at the moment, not any opportunities to enter. First short went in on Euro Pound on Friday off the double top. RSI extension to the upside on the hourly, which is great. There is a chance that we're going to push up into propulsion. we'll have to wait and see. But at the end of the day, we are just sitting inside a massive range at the moment. Yeah, so monthly highs, monthly lows. Yeah, we are literally just range bound. This is very normal for the euro pound. So what I'm looking at is basically the pound being stronger than the euro and us staying down in a low range, or I'm going to scale in up to there, which will be 3/4 positions by the time we get up into there, and then I will play the range back down again. But this takes forever. I'm not expecting not to be in this for a month. Euro pound is one of those pairs that you just get in and you stay in it forever. I did take one off last week, as you can see, off of the RSI extension short into propulsion. Kind of the same play again, really, is what I'm looking for. But I'm trying to get myself flat as well. So I'm toying with the idea whether to just turn the EA off for entries now and just get it to manage me flat, but we'll see. Pound US dollar. I've been working, ignore these trades on here. I've been working on a new system that I'm going to be introducing in the members area, which is to do with correlation trading, arbitrage. These trades here are part of arbitrage trades that I took with the euro pound. So you can see there's an entry there and an exit there. On the euro pound last week, I had the trades there. Yeah, so this is an arbitrage system that I've been working on. But these two are massively correlated, 90% correlation, basically. So you can go long one, short one, money. So at the moment, though, pound US dollar, we're expecting a weak US dollar. So this propulsion gap bounce that we had early end of the week, last week, or back end of last week, previous week rather, I got out on that pop. I think that's likely to hold. So we haven't really got any strength in the pound at the moment, but we are expecting more weakness in the dollar. So I'll be looking for opportunities to go long. There haven't been any. I was in long, obviously, from back here, scaled in and exited position there. There's been no opportunities for longs since then. You've had no short signals either. So there's nothing to be done on that in the last week. I had a short there, which I got out of as well, which I took off of that RSI extension. So that was position long, flip short, out. So yeah, looking basically, I don't think we're going to touch this propulsion gap again unless Trump decides to somehow rally the dollar. Yeah, so not really any opportunities to short this at the minute. You could try and short this here today off of the weekly high, but you're running into this propulsion move from Friday. So that would be really the only place I'd be interested in shorting off the monthly highs, because you will get a bounce off that. But if we do retest this propulsion gap to the downside, that is where I would look to long it at the moment. Oil, not into at the moment. Aussie dollar CAD, sideways for the last week, not really going anywhere. Aussie is bullish at the moment. It's the only real bullish currency we've got. Not that you could tell from this. It's not really doing an awful lot, is it? But just normal RSI extensions on it. So shorts up at the range highs, longs down at the range lows, basically. You've got this big propulsion gap here, which they've bought up twice now, probably 3 times, 4 times, maybe, if you want to count those as well. But this is the Australian interest rate change. Paints on the chart. So there's your inflation. Sorry, there's inflation, wasn't it? So that was the Aussie inflation number. Very bullish. Yeah. So that's that big spike up and then continuing to hold it, basically. So be careful with shorts. This range high may well go if we get there. It's only 125 ADR away. So in theory, we could hit it today, easily hit it this week. So you probably get a bounce out of it, but more likely a bounce and have another go at trying to go long on it. So it is really, really, really range bound at the moment, though. So that's a beautiful sell. If you get into a sell up there and it actually doesn't manage to break, you're falling into an ascending wedge. So you'll be coming back into this propulsion gap again, but it will probably hold. So RSI extensions to the downside with better trades than long. Than RSI extensions to the upside. But either could work. Just be aware that the Aussie could go into a bit of a squeeze because it is strong at the moment. Aussie dollar Swiss, same thing. Nice big strong push there. We've got weakness in the Swiss franc, overall bearish at the moment. This looks like it could be holding a range down here. So this is a failed breakout. Oh, an actual head and shoulders that works, look. See those very often. So you've got this area here, basically, which is kind of upside resistance. We did have a crack at it, couldn't get through, fell back down again. We actually put in a lower low. So slammed through into the previous monthly. So this area here and this area here is your support resistance. So somewhere up here for shorts, somewhere down there for longs at the moment. If you get any RSI extensions, obviously, that coincide with those, brilliant, really good trades. But they are kind of bullish Aussie, bearish Swiss. Aussie dollar yen, I'm not trading any yen pairs at the moment. The yen, in fact, if we look at all the yen pairs in one go, you can see we're not really going anywhere. This is the last 2 months. Yeah, we're not really going anywhere on the yen at the moment. If we flick through all of these, they're all very, very similar charts. Yeah, the yen is holding up very, very nicely at the moment. Euro yen sideways. Pound yen, bigger range, but still stuck sideways. If you look at the last sort of 3 weeks or so, not going anywhere at all, are we? New Zealand yen, a little bit more bearish on that side of it, but US yen, as you can see, no movement. So since the yen intervention, we've lost that ability for the Japanese to dump large orders. Yeah. And it's now gone into a complete range. We are stuck. So the bull run, the carry trade for the Japanese yen does look like it is officially over. There is no reason to just go long only on the yen anymore. The swaps are coming down, which indicates that the market is starting to stop that carry trade, which was always a way to make money. It's one of the biggest bank trades there is, carry trade. So it's very, very difficult now to call the Japanese yen directional bias at all, because we've got very, very, very low interest rates like the Swiss franc. It's still being used as a safe haven, but very, very short term. So it's something that basically you can trade now, I think, on any RSI extension. However, I'm still not convinced we won't find something that will send this thing off into a parabolic squeeze in one direction or the other. We know it's not going to be Japanese intervention because they've burnt it all. They've sold all their US equities. They haven't got any interventions they can do, but there is no directional bias on it. The interest rate's very, very low, which would indicate that it should be fairly bullish. And you can see that it is holding. It's not bearish anymore, is it? No, we're not selling the yen off against everything at the moment. We are holding against all other currencies. So it's something I'm considering reintroducing into my portfolio because it's acting like a normal currency. However, it's still incredibly expensive to trade short. So really the only option is to go long on it, but it's more bullish than bearish. So you want to be going short everything against the yen. So it's very difficult to call what to do with this at the minute, but they're all the same. So if you're going to trade the yen, just trade one. You know, if you look at the all the yen pairs and you put them all side by side in a correlation matrix, you're going to see that they're all very, very similar. Yeah, all green. Yeah, if you're trading multiple yen pairs, you're trading the same thing. The two that are very different are the Swiss and the US. Yeah, if you're going to trade multiple Swiss pairs, those are the ones you want to concentrate on. Yeah, so US dollar and Swiss. You could trade the euro and the New Zealand as well, but it's kind of one of those things you just want to pick one instrument and trade it. Which one? Don't know. You could look at what is the current strength. Yeah, so look at a daily currency strength. Australian dollar is the strongest thing out there. We're expecting the yen to be fairly strong, so you probably want to pick weakest at the moment. Look, typical. So yeah, pick the opposite end, basically. If the yen's down here, pick the Aussie. Yeah, Aussie yen, maybe best thing to trade. But I'm kind of steering clear of it at the moment because I can only trade it in one direction. All these yens, the swaps to go short, 1360, that's getting almost tradable now. All the swaps are incredibly expensive. CAD yen's getting tradable now. So anything under 10, I consider all right. That's at 11. That's not bad. Maybe I should put my threshold up to 12. What are we on the Swiss? Swiss is tradable, but with the Swiss, you're trading a safe haven against a safe haven. So when there's a safe haven run, this doesn't go anywhere. No point in trading it, is there? So yeah, all of these are rubbish, basically, is kind of what I'm trying to say. There's not a lot you can do with these yen pairs. Low time frame intraday, maybe take ADR reversals on low time frames, but they are just sideways at the moment. The market has lost directional bias on the yen. It doesn't know what to do with it now. It's the carry trade instrument. We always used to go long against the yen. We're not anymore. What do you do with it now? I think the market is just sitting around going, well, just not do much with it and focus on everything else. So all the yen pairs very much in the same boat at the moment. CAD Swiss totally sideways. Not a lot you can really do with that one at the minute. All the euro pairs. So euro basically very difficult to call as well at the minute. They've done their interest rate drops. We're kind of round about where we are with the euro interest rates. I don't think there's any real reason to raise them. There's no reason to drop them at the moment because CPI is sticky. So the euro is kind of neutral. So at the moment, you're going to get pushed and pulled around by the other currency. What is the Australian dollar at the moment? Very strong. Euro comes down against the dollar, against the Australian dollar. So looking for potentially that type of movement. So RSI extensions to the upside to short it, like that one, would be good. That would have been a beautiful trade, that one. Look, if you took that RSI extension to the upside, you wouldn't have got out on that. You'd have scaled in on that. That's your reward. Huge. So yeah, really good looking Australian dollar strength at the moment. So I'd be looking for shorts and that propulsion gap, trading it somewhere down into possibly even to the monthly lows and beyond. But we'll wait and see what happens with Lagarde when she speaks this week. All the others are very much the same. New Zealand dollar, that's on the Australian announcement, but they're all very much sideways. The euro is at the moment neutral, weak, not really going anywhere. So all of these Aussie pairs, you could take, euro pairs, you can take pretty much any RSI extension on them at the moment, but not quite got there yet. But there's a potential, would have been a potential nice bounce play out of there when we fill that propulsion gap. Euro US sideways. Again, ignore these little trades here. These are all arbitrage trades I've been taking. Loads of them. Lots of little profits. But yeah, sideways at the moment. Euro US, totally, for the last 3 weeks. So this is last week, week before that. Yeah, we are absolutely nowhere. So right now, today, we're up here. If we are going to remain range bound, short it down to there. Yeah. So don't forget this week, non-farm payroll. We've got the unemployment rate coming out on Friday for the dollar. Yeah, that is going to be the big mover this week. Obviously, it can go either way. We'll have to just wait and see what happens with it. But any trades that you're in on the US dollar before Thursday, obviously before Friday, you want to look at either taking profit or preparing yourself for a big move with you or a big move against you. So right now on a Monday, we haven't got a US market this afternoon, but if you want to take a short off of here, look for some kind of signal. Reversal alert this morning is miles away on the 15-minute time frame. You've had the 5-minute reversal alert this morning. So there is your M, potentially might come up to there, but yeah, so this, we got a double weekly high here. Look, market has hit the weekly high and we look like we might be starting to reject that. So good looking potential short opportunity there, that weekly high and the previous weekly high, and then you've got your monthly high as backup, which is literally half an ADR away from where we are at the moment. Not even that, quarter of an ADR. But So good looking short there right now, Euro US. It's not quite extended, but it's not extended on the 4. Oh, it is extended on the 4. It's a 4-hour RSI extension as well. So that was a news event, so a little bit different. But potential good short on the Euro US dollar. Pound pairs stuck on the pound. There's very, very weird directional bias on the pound at the moment. It's very difficult to understand what's going on with the pound. In the UK, we are dropping interest rates, which is bearish. We are forecasting potentially to continue to drop the interest rates. However, we had a bit of a fly in the ointment last time round. On the bank vote rates, bank rate votes, even if I could speak. So the last round of votes that we had, we were expecting a unanimous rate drop. What we got was just about a rate drop. Yeah. So we were expecting them to go, yeah, absolutely nailed in. We are dropping interest rates. It was that close to not happening. So this is massively bearish. We are dropping interest rates. However, we could easily completely stop dropping interest rates. So we got the drop. We were expecting the 4% off the previous 4.25, but that could well do that very, very easily, because this is basically not nailed in that we are going to continue to drop interest rates, which is what we were expecting. So we're expecting continuation weakness in the pound coming through, but that isn't really the signal we got on the last interest rate decision. So be interesting to see what they do with the interest rates this time round, because it's not a given that we're definitely going to drop again. So from a pound perspective, it's certainly, I don't think, not bearish at the moment, but it's certainly not bullish either, is it? It's very, very neutral like everything else. So again, pound being pushed around by the strongest currency we've got at the moment, which is the Australian dollar. Opportunity for longs, basically Friday, wasn't it? So Friday, we got the RSI extension on the hourly. So if you'd have taken the reversal alert on that, which would have been, where did we go? There. You'd probably had a 5-minute reversal in there. If not, you definitely had a 5-minute reversal there. Whichever way you look at it, you'll kind of break even in profit at the moment. So there's potential for a pullback on this one this week. We'll have to wait and see what happens with the Australian dollar. But there is also a very strong potential for us to come back and retest this propulsion gap to the downside as well, which will give you divergence, which will be very bullish. So then I reckon we're going to pull back on that. So if you're not already in it, if you're already in it and this is the bounce point, which is kind of this high here, yeah, retest. So this is support bounce off of here. If that is the case, off we go. If not, we're going to come and retest propulsion. You've also then got a double monthly support. So if that doesn't work out, scale into propulsion. If that doesn't work out, scale into monthly. By the time it gets down there, it's going to be massively extended on the 4-hour RSI. Like, again. Yeah, and then we'll get the bounce out of that area there. So for that kind of movement. But it could well go from where we are at the moment. But that Australian dollar is still very strong. So don't forget, we've had 2 weeks basically of strong US dollar, or a week and a half. So they're going to be ready to take a bit of profit off this. So there's a good chance that might start to pop. Long again on the DAX. It's not going anywhere, is it? Hopefully this nice big bullish engulfing we've got is going to break those highs. Not convinced. Pound CAD, again, we had a weakness in the pound, but not really going anywhere for the last sort of few weeks. We have broken down, but that's where really I'd be interested in longing it. There was an RSI extension from Friday, which if you're in profit, which is fantastic. Last signal short on it was all the way back up here, but you would have got into it there, so you'd have been scaling in on that move there. And that was your exit last week. if you're in the pound CAD. So now your entry long is there. We may well come down and test this. Again, Canadian dollar, not a lot of news this week, but it will move with the US dollar, or not so much at the moment with the trade war going on, but we'll see. But yeah, any RSI extensions on any of these, they're not strong, they're not weak, they're neutral. So basically get in, hold the trade through the squeeze and out, same as usual. No bullishness, no bearishness. Propulsion gap held on the pound Swiss. We've just finished it now. So we're looking at a bounce out of these highs. There's one extension back here, which you would have been chopped into for weeks on end and gone nowhere. But yeah, that looks good to me for a long. However, the Swiss franc is weak. We've dropped interest rates. Inflation was better than expected, so it's slightly more bullish, but it's still bearish, the Swiss E, but it is a safe haven. So again, you know, fundamentals with the Swiss franc and the yen don't really affect it massively because it's a safe haven. What affects it is war, conflict, which is the same thing, events happening around the world, basically. So this is a safe haven. So when we have things going wrong, the Swissy powers up. When things are going well, the Swissy weakens. Opposite, inverse to everything else, basically. So yeah, so we'll see where that goes, but nothing much on the pound Swiss. Pound yen I've already covered. Pound New Zealand, very much doing the same as the pound odd. Again, this correlation matrix is really, really, really good for looking at correlation and understanding. This will be part of what I will be teaching. Understanding the correlation between instruments. Yeah. So on a daily basis, I've got 24 there. Let's try 4 out. Yeah. 84% correlated, the pound New Zealand and the Aussie New Zealand. Yeah. So they move together 84% of the time. If you take a trade, for example, if you went long on the pound New Zealand on Friday and you went long on the pound odd on Friday because you had the same signal, you're taking the same trade. So all you're doing is you're doubling your exposure to movement on the Australasian markets or on the European markets on the pound. So, but pound New Zealand, very much the same sort of analysis as the pound odd. It's the same thing, basically. So, yeah, it's likely to do that because we've got a strong Australian dollar, which gives us a strong New Zealand dollar. There's more, if you look at the pound odd, it's more prevalent where we're headed. There's more movement on it. So this is the one that obviously had the news, so it's moved more. But I think we've still got a little bit more downside on it. It could well bounce from here, but same with the New Zealand dollar. There's a little bit more downside yet, I think. Then start looking for maybe a long bounce, but I'd rather be short in it. Much more for short than long. New Zealand dollar, very much the same as the Australian dollar. A little bit more bullish, but not massively. So commodities markets are doing well at the moment. Obviously, Aussie and CAD are commodities pairs, and New Zealand. So yeah, good ranges, but strong markets with the commodities. So New Zealand dollar, in theory, should be bullish. You're trading a commodity against a commodity here. Commodities markets are strong, therefore this one goes nowhere because you're trading strength against strength. So sideways movement. Again, I'd much rather be bullish on it than bearish on it, but I don't think you're going to get any signals on it. It's not going anywhere. If it comes up and fills that propulsion gap, that would be a lovely short. So look at 175 ADR, which is basically these lows. If we can break out into that area at some point this week, that would be a nice short. So you'll get a signal on RSI to short it. We'll get there at some point, hopefully, but that's really the only thing I'll be looking for. Otherwise, we may well just sit around and do nothing and go sideways. New Zealand Swiss, very much the same. Nothing's happening on it. Nothing to see, nothing to do. Probably looking for this propulsion gap bounce here. New Zealand yen I've covered. New Zealand US, that one's just grinding. The US, obviously, as you can see, yeah, grinding. We are at the moment meant to be bearish US dollar, which would indicate we should be doing that. It hasn't been like that, has it? So this one is a bit of a tricky one because it looks like it's trending down, but the fundamental bias means we should be really looking for longs on this in the coming weeks because we're looking for weakness in the dollar. So I'd be looking much more for signals to the downside on it. If we get up into there, that will be a good bounce short, but just bear in mind we're expecting this market structure here potentially to reverse now at some point and start going back the other way. So whether that happens or not, this is a Trump presidency. You can never tell what's going to happen. But he's hired I saw on the newsfeed last week, he's hiring more of his cronies into the Fed. So he's switching the Fed board members around for his own people, which means he gets control of the Fed, which means he gets control of interest rates. So, it's all corrupt. Everything's corrupt. So it's a case of which way this goes is going to be based on how many people he gets on the board by the time the next interest rate decision comes out. We're looking for a 0.25% drop. If he's got more people in there, he could easily boost that. And that means that the dollar could drop harder than anticipated. We could be up there. He can change his mind as he does and say, actually, I don't want interest rates down anymore. So anything to do with the US, basically, there is no system or strategy out there that you can use. You have to fly by the seat of your pants and hope, which is basically what trading is most of the time anyway, isn't it? But with the dollar at the moment, it's equally as bad. So I think basically we should be looking ideally more for longs than shorts on it. However, you're still going to get those bounces out of propulsion. Yeah. So whenever they move strongly, they will take a profit before they continue their move. Which way that move is going to be, we don't know. But that's where I'll be looking for shorts out the weekly highs in propulsion. You're going to get an RSI extension on it there. So that'd be a good short. If it hit there today as well, ADR, even better. But US is not trading this afternoon, so unlikely. If we push down, there's not really anywhere in here that makes sense to take a trade from, apart from these lows down here. So if you get an RSI extension and it coincides with a weekly or monthly low, probably a decent area to start taking a trade from. US dollar CAD, we are right in a decent level here. It means longing the dollar against all of this negative news. So I'm not too keen on that at the minute. You did have a signal back here. And as you can see, we've got divergence creeping in here, which is massively bullish US. So there is a chance I think we might get a little bit of a pop on it this week, and it might not happen until the end of the week until we get non-farm payroll. But we've got PMIs tomorrow. So tomorrow is basically the first opportunity for some US dollar movement, half an hour after market open. So we may well sit around, I think, today. And then tomorrow, potentially we could get that pop, but it could go either way. Now, if we break that monthly low, which is what we looked like we were holding on Friday here, if we break that level, you've got absolutely nothing but clear air all the way down into this high, which is this propulsion gap here, which is 225 ADR to the downside. So just be aware of that. Bearish moving forward over the next sort of 4 weeks. Got a support bounce you're taking on something that may well drop. Yeah, so be prepared to jump in and scale in 225 to maybe 300 ADR to the downside. So that'd be 3 to 5 trades if that one doesn't work out, if you're position trading those. US dollar Swiss, it's a mess. It's just a grindy sideways mess. Yeah. RSI extension worked there. RSI there. RSI there. It's working at the moment, but it's a mess. Yeah, so it's a safe haven currency. We haven't had any really strong safe haven runs of late, so it's just sitting around. The conflict side of things is what's really driving the Swiss at the moment, and that's all kind of flattened out a bit, isn't it? So I don't think much is happening on this one at the moment. If we get some announcements on Zelensky and Putin, or what's happening with Israel, which is dramatic change or shift in momentum of those conflicts, the Swiss franc's going to take off in one direction or the other. Don't know which. So it's a risky thing to trade. At the moment, though, dollar that way, Swiss that way. Why it's going sideways. Yeah, you got a bearish currency against a bearish currency equals no movement. And US dollar yen we've covered. There we go. That's the lot. So still in the DAX, going nowhere. Morning, Wojciech. We'll start from the start. You won't read this message then until way after I've gone, probably. Vitaly, very often the opposite happens. Fed lowers rates in September, dollar goes up. Yeah. You've hit the nail on the head there, Vitaly. Very often the opposite happens. Very often the opposite doesn't happen. It's a 50-50 chance. Isn't there? Everything. I do not conform to any directional bias on anything. There's no point because it's 50-50. Morning, Rajiv. Morning, Pot DJ. And this dash on web page will also have alerts via email. Don't know yet. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I'm going to work it yet. The way that I see, I mean, this is something that is just going to be open on a monitor for me. So if I ever want to just go, I want to take a trade on an index, I want to see what the correlation is, or I want to build a basket, whatever. This will just be there. Yeah. So it'll be there and I'll be able to play with it. So yeah, I mean, I could set up email alerts. That won't be difficult to do. I was thinking more like push alerts because it's something that you probably want when ADR gets hit. For example, on an ADR dash, you want an alert. The same way as the dashboards do. Yeah. So, you know, the ADR dash sits here and if it's doing nothing, it's doing nothing. When it hits ADR, it pings me and alerts me. So you can set up anything. I haven't really thought that far ahead yet. That's the phase that I'm working on at the moment. So hold all tickets. Trump is still sleeping. Go, go, go. Trade before lights in White House bedroom come on. Yeah. Exactly. That's what it is at the minute, isn't it? Wait for Trump to wake up and then cross your fingers and hope he says something nice in your direction. Whichever direction that is, just jump in. That's what he does. We love him. As much as I'm not a fan of Trump, I'm a fan of him from a trading perspective, because as a trader, one thing we need is volatility. The only way we make money as traders is if when we press a button, the market moves from A to B. If the market doesn't move, we can't make money. Yeah. Trump makes the market move from A to B. That's what he does. He opens his mouth and it moves. So when you're in a trade, he either makes you very rich or he hits your stop loss. Yeah. And this is the beautiful thing about trading is you're never going to see the same thing happen twice. You'll be sitting here and you'll back test the strategy until you're blue in the face. And you'll go, right, I've back tested it for the last 3 years. I've done an out of sample test for the last 6 months. I've back tested it pre-COVID. I've back tested it post-COVID. I've back tested it on multiple instruments. I've done system parameter permutation tests. They show me that 85% of the permutations are profitable. This thing is robust as hell. Trump gets into office. Throw the whole lot away. Total useless, because Trump's presidency is not the same as Biden's. It is going to give you a completely different market. You will never have seen it before. And then when he leaves, you'll have done back testing for the last 4 years. You'll have done 6 months worth of forward testing out of sample. You'll have robustness tested it across multiple instruments and timeframes, and it's working. You're brilliant. You go, right, I'm going live. Someone else gets into the presidency, and all of a sudden the whole lot gets thrown away. That's trading. This is why you've got to adapt, and you cannot stay on the same strategy, the same system all the time. And it only comes from experience in having traded through Trump presidency and trading through a non-Trump presidency, trading through a pandemic, trading through a financial crash. I've traded through a peg removal. I've traded through everything. I've seen everything. Nothing's the same, ever. This year is going to be totally different to last year. And last year was totally different to the year before, even though we had the same bloke in charge of the US. Yeah. Fed, Powell gets kicked out, replaced with someone from Trump's side. Absolutely different structure for the entire banking system in the US. Yeah, they'll bring in new rules. it will all change. So, you just have to go with the flow. But the one thing that you need is volatility. You cannot trade without volatility. And this is why I see all these EAs out there that trade the Asian session. Just a waste of time. There's no volume. There's no volatility. There's no movement, apart from on the Aussie and the New Zealand pairs. And then the spreads are 7,000 times higher than everything else. Just forget it. Trade when the market moves. The market moves at the open. And the market moves when this stuff is released. That's it. That's what you need to know. Which way it's going? No idea. If it's going to go up, make sure you've got a stop loss that big and a reward that big. If it's going to go down, make sure you've got a stop loss that big and a reward that big. If that is the same on every trade you take, you'll make money. What makes that happen and what makes the direction is irrelevant. You never know it. And unless you've got a crystal ball, stop trying to guess. Risk, reward. That's it. That's all you have. You have the ability to wrap risk around price and movement, but you cannot predict movement. You cannot predict future movement. Even if they say the dollar, we are predicting 2 drops on interest rates this month and another one before the end of the year. If the US gets dragged into conflict against Russia or something, that's not going to happen. Yeah. If there's a pandemic, that's not going to happen. If there is some massive financial crisis, like Nvidia gets blown up, that's not going to happen. So directional bias is only good when the bias is not changed. And this is one of these, if you look at the currency strength over time, yeah, it changes all the time. Look, yeah, this is a currency strength. This is the New Zealand dollar from last Friday. It was really, really weak, and then it was really, really strong. So that's about 75% or something. Need a tooltip on this, don't I? That's about 25%. So there's a 50% deviation there in 6 hours on one instrument, caused by, I don't know, I don't care. What is important is it deviated, which means it moved. As long as it's moving, we can make money. That's all you've got, isn't it? You don't know where this here right now is sitting at 50%-ish. Someone tell me where this is going to be at 6 p.m. this afternoon. No idea. No one can tell me that because it's in the future. So should you be going long on the New Zealand or short on the New Zealand? It's going up at the moment, which means it's bullish. Right, if it's bullish, I'll buy it. Oh. As long as your reward and your risk ratio is positive, doesn't matter which way this goes, you have a 50-50 shot of getting it right, don't you, direction-wise? That's all we got. That's trading. It's that simple. Just got to find a way to wrap risk around money, haven't you? Will the new members area be on the website replace the YouTube membership? Yes. So I don't know how I'm going to stream yet. That was part of what I was going to do while I was off, and I didn't get a chance to finish it. So I'm looking at multiple ways, basically. I'm looking at Discord. I'm looking at Teams. I'm looking at YouTube still. So with YouTube, what I can do is I can do private streams, which are just streams that are hidden, if you like. But I'm just not sure yet on how I'm going to do it. What I don't really want to use YouTube because what I want is interaction. So the member streams are going to be classroom type environment things more than me lecturing. Yeah. So what I'd like to do is have interaction. So if I'm talking away now, I'm looking at chat. I don't look at chat until I finish what I was talking about. By the time I look at chat, that person may have been on a delayed stream. I could have finished what I was talking about 15 minutes ago, and their question is irrelevant, and it's 15 minutes ago. So I don't actually know what the question's about because it was something I was talking about 15 minutes ago. What I'd like is for people to be able to say, can you just confirm that and talk? But I'm not sure which platform is best to do that in at the moment. So I'm looking at Discord. I've got to do some testing on Discord. lot of people most people use Discord, so it seems sensible to use that. And I can link the members section into Discord. So if Discord can look up if you're a member, and if you are, you can access it. If you're not, you can't. Simple as that. Very simple. So I'm working on how it all kind of melds together at the moment. And obviously the criteria, the curriculum. So one of the things from that survey that came back, which was very clear, is nobody's got any money. Which I kind of know. We're in a bit of a squeeze, aren't we, financially in the world at the moment? Nobody's willing to pay more than $100 or pound or whatever a month for anything. So therefore, I have to look at what I can deliver for that amount of money. So I want to be able to offer value to everyone if possible, but streams will be sectioned out into beginners, people that want to make full-time livings, people that want to make supplemental income, people that work full-time, people that don't work full-time, because everybody that is trading is going to have a different set of circumstances. So if you've only got $3,000 in the bank and you work full-time, what's the point in me teaching you how to trade the opening range breakout strategy on the stock indices? You're at work. You can't do it. So you can't do that. So what you can do is trade prop. Now, if you're going to trade prop and you're at work, you can't do that. So what you're going to need? You're going to need automation. So yes, we can trade that, but you're going to have to use the opening range breakout strategy on full automation. That means you can't trade futures because you are needing to use MT4 or MT5 EAs, and they only work on CFDs, which means that your prop firms that you can choose are not futures ones, which means you've got to look at trading CFD prop firms with automation, because you work full time, you've only got $3,000. So the best investment of your money, of that $3,000, is to buy 5 prop evaluations for $2,500 of $100,000 accounts, start the ORB strategy or SIH strategy, and start different evaluations on different days of the week to make sure that we get one of those funded for you. That's the approach that I want to take with everybody. So we need to know where everybody sits. If you're the type of person that doesn't work full time and you can trade, you're any time of the day, ORB, manually adjusting levels, probably absolutely fine for you. So you can either trade prop or your own capital. If you've got $50,000 in the bank, brilliant, trade your own capital. If you haven't, trade prop. If you can trade futures, you're going to need to know about different future strategies, because the risk parameters for futures are completely different to CFDs. You can hedge on CFDs and you can't hedge on futures. If you're in the US, you can't trade CFDs. So everybody's going to need a different style of education based on what they can and can't do. This is where the problem lies. I'm one man with 5 days a week. I can't count. How do you deliver that? So I'm working on a way to put lessons together which are short enough that you can consume all of the information you need within a couple of hours, and then the rest of the lessons are more interactive. Let's trade it. Show us your P&Ls. Show us your trades. What are you doing? Where are you going wrong? Asking questions, and that requires interaction. You can't do that on YouTube. So YouTube's kind of, it's great for, if I want to chuck out viral videos and try and become a YouTuber, no problem. If I want to post out a load of viral shit that is bollocks, no problem. But I don't want to do that. There's no point. If you want to follow YouTubers that have got Lamborghinis, there's hundreds of them. I'm not a YouTuber with a Lamborghini. So, I do what I do and it works. So I don't want to become that type of thing. I want to be able to take a small amount of people that I can talk to and help. But you're all different. So I'm just trying to figure out the best way to kind of deliver it. But also the other thing is, if you're working full time, you can't come to the live sessions, can you? If you work from 8 until 5, you can't trade the New York session or the London Open. So how do I deliver education to people that want education that can't be educated? They're going to have to watch a recording. Therefore, they cannot interact. So there's so many things going on that I'm trying to figure out and nail the details down on, but I can't quite figure out how to do it yet. So it's all kind of, that part of it is up in the air and a little bit of a anomaly. What am I going to do with this morning? We're really stuck, aren't we? I'm just looking at my P&L and thinking, should I just scrap the morning session and start again tomorrow? Does it make sense to introduce directional bias in ORB MT5? No. That's the completely, absolutely pointless thing to do. The edge is not directional bias. This is not a trend strategy. There's only 3 strategies: breakout, mean reversion, and trend. Yeah. If you want to pick a directional bias, you are a trend trader. If you are a breakout trader, you are trading momentum. Momentum does not have a directional bias. Momentum is up or down based on the momentum of the open now. The momentum now is bullish. Yeah. If I said, right, I'm going to introduce a directional bias, I would be looking for short only. If this now does that, we just missed all that money because we said, no, we're going short only. If this never, ever gets to that level today, you've lost all the money, haven't you? Just because something is trending down doesn't mean it doesn't break up. Yeah, this is. Don't forget, this strategy is designed to be in and out within half an hour. Days like this, there is no directional bias. There's still no directional bias today, is there? Look, we're not long, we're not short. Yeah, we're not anything, are we? We're more bullish than bearish, but we're not really anywhere. We're just stuck. I've tested it. I've put a moving average on the ORB strategy and I've back tested it. I've back tested all the system parameter permutations of trending indicators with ORB. They make no difference. Doesn't make it any better or worse at all. It makes it worse. It doesn't make it any better because you miss all the opportunities. If you use a moving average, and this is the problem with moving averages, if you use a moving average on anything, what it's doing is it's telling you the direction of price over the last X candlesticks. So this is telling me the direction of price over the last 24 days, and this is telling me the direction of price over the last 72 days. That is the last 1 month and 3 months of market movement on the US dollar Swiss. What has that got to do with today's movement? Nothing. Yeah. So when you are looking for shorts only from here, you missed all that movement there, that movement there, you missed all of that movement there, you missed all that, 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 you missed all that. Yeah, you got that, you got that, you got that, you got that, you got that. The difference is the downward movements are bigger in size than the upward movements, which is fine if you're using a trend-based strategy, but I don't trend trade. Yeah, this thing blew up for 4 days solid. But you missed all of that because you're short biased. Blew up 2 days solid. Massive. Look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days worth of price movement. It blew the whole lot out the water and doubled that 7 days of price movement in 48 hours, but you missed it because you were short only. That candlestick there has absolutely nothing to do with the next day's movement. It was bearish. That candlestick there has nothing to do with the next day's movement. It was bullish. That candlestick there has nothing to do with the next day's movement. It was bearish. That candlestick there has nothing to do with the next day's movement. It was bearish. Was it bearish because that day was bearish? No, it's bearish because there was more sellers that day than buyers. It's got nothing to do with that day. Yeah. The fact that this is red and this has been coming down for ages means that the market was able to push up constantly for over a month, but you missed it all because you were bearish. It doesn't work. No one has ever shown me a trend strategy that's worked. I've never found a trend strategy that's worked. I've got this indicator, which I stole from somebody who was a trend trader. And I still use it today in the knowledge that it doesn't work. But it is an instant way to go, oh, the US dollar has been coming down against the Swiss franc. Doesn't mean it's not going up today. So if you're trading long-term institutional moves where you're trading and you're holding over months, that's fine. But this here said, I need to, or there, whichever way you want to take it, said I need to be long now in this market. You were longing it here, 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 until there. For 2 months, you were longing this and losing money because this green line said long it. For 2 whole months, you lost money because of a line on a chart. Doesn't make sense to me now. It never made sense to me before, which is why I just didn't get into trend trading. A load of people now will tell me that it all works, which is fine. And if it does work, use it. But with a momentum breakout strategy like this, they are useless. Any kind of directional bias is useless because you are trading the momentum. The momentum is bullish. So you trade with the momentum. When the momentum becomes bearish, we trade that momentum. But we don't decide ahead of the market open which way the market is going to go because it's going to tell us when it's going to go, which way. It's not for us to decide. It's for the market to decide. If it wants to go like that, I make money. If it wants to go like that, I lose money. I don't have a choice. It does it. If I had a choice, I'd tell it to go up. But unfortunately, I'd need quite a lot of capital. Please not Discord. I can't access. I can't access their member area. What do you mean? The YouTube member area? Yeah, but it's nothing to do with YouTube, Mumble. I'm be setting up my own system for Discord. So if I want to add you, I can add you manually. The YouTube members section on our current platform is controlled by Discord and YouTube integration. I am building my own. Everything I've built here is all built by me. It's all built. This is all my own stuff that I've built. I will build it so that you can have access to it. Yeah. So this will work for you. It'll work for everybody. Basically, what I'll do is I'll say on Discord, it will say, are you a member on here? Yes. Here you go. If not, no. It won't require you to do anything complicated, so don't worry. It might not be that. I don't know. I seriously have not. I haven't even gone down that route yet. That's on my to-do list that I haven't got around to. If not gold, big swaps, maybe silver. I'm testing it and it's doing nice on demo. There's no point in trading gold and silver. They are the same thing. 60% correlation. Higher time frame, 81% correlation. Yeah. So if you're trading gold, you are trading silver. If you're trading silver, you are trading gold with 80% correlation. Metals, commodities move the same. There will be differences, admittedly. So if you look at gold and silver next to each other, but I mean, look, that's the correlation. So you got a bit of divergence there where you made a double bottom instead of a lower low, and then it pushed back up again. But that's the 80% correlation. So there's no point in going, oh, I won't trade gold, I'll trade silver. You're trading the same thing. You're trading the commodities markets. The futures commodities metal market. It's all the same stuff. Platinum, palladium, slightly different because they're used in different technologies. So, and And they've got different exporters as well. So the vast majority of the gold market is produced by Australia. Yeah. They supply a hell of a lot of raw gold material. The largest stock holding of gold is Russia. Unfortunately, they're on an export ban at the moment. So when that export ban and those sanctions are lifted on Russia, the gold price is going to do something completely different because the market will suddenly be flooded by cheap gold. That will happen at some point. But they, as far, I don't know what their holding is on silver. I've never looked into it. But if Russia do not hold a load of silver, you will then suddenly get a diversification in gold and silver pricing. And you will see the correlation matrix completely change for gold and silver, which is why we can test it over different time frames using different periods so that we can understand the relationship between the two over time. 5 minutes, yeah, 54% correlation over a 5-minute time frame. Yeah, so there's that diversification I just showed you. Look, I'll just shut the charts, but yeah, it moves. That's that blip that we saw basically. I think there, maybe there, I don't know. But yeah, I wouldn't just pick one. Pick a metal. You're either a metals trader or you're not a metals trader. If you trade gold, you're going to need a soccer horn. No, I'm not getting into that. Pulling back inside range again. Should have shut that out. I was toying with the idea of just shutting it up there and taking it today, but I didn't. I keep looking over here because this is my futures account, my funded account, which is long at break even at the moment. I'll leave it running. We'll see what happens. Right, that's all I've got for you today. So no movement on ORB today as yet. If we do get movement, watch the high from Friday. That's your likely upside target. FX wise, not really masses happening today. Gold, obviously. Yeah, we had a lot of movement on gold today and silver. But yeah, there's some movement, but it's a bit erratic, these ADRs today. So nothing really to write home about. So don't forget, this week is non-farm payroll week. So we've got non-farm payroll coming up on Friday. That is when we're going to have all the action this week, sort of back-ended towards here. So we've got the PMIs, we've got the unemployment claims on Thursday, and then Friday we go into non-farm payroll. That's delayed, isn't it? So this is normally on Wednesday, but it's because we've got the bank holiday that's been pushed back a day. So Thursday. So this is where all our action's coming this week. So these days are going to be quite quiet. So this week, members-wise, live rooms. Did I take the message down? I did. No, I didn't. So yeah, this week is the same member stream-wise, normal stream-wise, except for today. There's no point in streaming this afternoon. We're not here. There's no markets open. So I'm going to be working on this and figuring out what to do with the streams moving forward. There's a news trading strategy that I've been looking into as well, which I may well start to do live streaming on news as well. But that, again, that'll be members stuff. So it will be basically looking at trading after market, after news movement, which will mean it will be like these short streams, which last sort of 15 minutes, just to quickly execute trades based on specific strategies. So that's kind of what I want to move more towards, is more structured streaming rather than just streaming Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for the hell of it. Obviously, I always trade the open anyway, but pairing this with education means I'm going to have to rejiggle the streams and the way they work. Can I ask a question on ORBV 3.2? Depending on account size, I get at times deleted no money. That's because you've got no margin. So if you've got no money, you've got no money. So you're being margin called. So you need a bigger account, or you need to reduce your risk. So that deleted no money basically is just your broker saying, I'd love to put the trade on for you, but you're going to exceed your margin requirement. So if you look at your margin, got the right. I haven't even got the right things on here. Nice to have. Oh. So if you look at the margin requirement there, your free margin, or rather your margin level as a percent, that will basically be much smaller. If it's 170% or something, and you try and put a trade on which takes you below 100%, the broker will just reject it with a no money message. So it's literally a margin call. Well, it's not a margin call. It's I can't put the money on because it'll take you over margin. Demonstrate it on this platform, actually, because this one doesn't like you to do anything. So you can see my margin there is 172%, 173%. So if I drop that lot size down, 123%, 98%, now I can press buttons. Yeah. So what is happening is if you'd have said, I want to take a 0.04, it would have let you take the trade. If you say you want a 0.05, can't take the trade. Not enough money. It takes you over your margin requirement. This is all stuff. This is all like baby pips style stuff that I'm going to be covering in a basics, if you like. I'm not going to go over everything in trading basics because there's too much of it, but I'm going to go over all the basic stuff that you need to know about for what I do. So for ORB, MT5, go over the platform, brokers, difference between CFDs, futures, how margins work, all that sort of stuff. I'm going to go over all the basic stuff that you need to know to operate because how to add an EA to the chart, where to put an EA in the terminal, how to use the strategy tester, all this sort of stuff. It's really difficult for me, having done this for 20 years, to remember what I need to know as somebody that doesn't know this. If you've been trading for 3 months and I say, yeah, download a demo of the EA and just put it in the back tester, people are getting like, where do I download a demo? How do I download a demo? What's an EA? It's alien to me that people don't know this stuff, but I didn't know this stuff at some point. So I've got to put together some kind of basics, which is, what's the difference between a CFD and a futures broker? Quite important. You know the difference, isn't it? Why that exact question there? I've got deleted no money. Is it the broker or is it the EA? It's the broker. Why is it the broker? Margin. Yeah, you've got to know all of this stuff. So that's going to be the kind of basics. But what I'd like to do is do that, record it, and then put it to one side. And then once a week, have a session for beginners, which is basically chuck a load of questions of that. And if no one comes to it, brilliant. You've learned it all. That'd be lovely. But, this is a valid question. I, at some point, did not know what margins are either. Looks like we're going to pull back and stop out on this. So there may be a short. It may just pop back up here again. It's just doing nothing, is it? So, okay. So I will be back on Wednesday afternoon at the moment. Wednesday morning, if you're a member. I will contact all the members. How am I going to contact all the members? If you're a member on YouTube, you should be in Discord. If you're not on Discord, I don't know how I contact members. But basically, you're going to want to move your membership over into this new website when it's ready. It's not ready yet. But yeah, I need to think about how I'm going to contact people as well. But this week is just going to be normal because I'm not going to get all this in this done this week. It's there's too much work for me to do. I've got so much stuff to do in the back end here. So I'll be working on all of that. And then I will update you as and when. But just assume this week everything is normal, Monday, Wednesday, Friday as usual, and then we'll just go as we go until we start changing stuff. If you want to have a look at this, I will put a link out in the Discord group when it's ready. It's not quite there yet. And then you can go and have a play around. There's 3 membership levels at the moment. There's a free plan, which you can get access to virtually everything there for free. There's a pro plan, which gives you more access. And then there's elite plan, which gives you even more. So one of the main things on the elite plan is you get all the EAs included for free as well. So it's not for free, it's 99 quid, but it's including all the EAs. So basically you can trade with all the EAs and you'll have access to all the education, all the member streams, all the basically it's everything. That is less of. But this stuff is all free. So you can get access to the economic calendar, the fundamental analysis, retail, currency strength, correlation. You've got a trading metric section. You can link your account. It's like my FX Blue stuff. You can't access the builder and you can't access the licenses. But so yeah, that it's still in development though. So it's not quite ready. And I need to check these times all right as well. It's right, isn't it? 4 hours 19. I did this at the weekend. It's always nice when things work. Right, that's it for today. If you've got any questions, Discord. Otherwise, I'll be back on Wednesday morning, as usual, 8 a.m. for the members. And then 2:30 Wednesday afternoon, we'll trade the New York session. We'll have a look at the news, have a look at the FX movements this week. And then I'll just update you as normal, and we're back on Friday as usual. So, all right. Have a good weekend, good week, if I don't see you before. And yeah, back on Wednesday. And if you're in the US and you're here, why are you here? And if you're watching this on replay, have a day off. It's a holiday, all right? I will see you next time. Have a good day.